If you're the kind of tired that no amount of sleep can fix, this video is for you. It's not the kind of tired that means you haven't had enough sleep. It's the kind of tired that you've had your sleep, you're showing up, you're functional, you're getting things done, and yet there's this exhaustion that runs underneath. We tend to think that's a personal flaw. It's not. There's something much larger going on, and your emotional fatigue then simply becomes a symptom. That's emotional information is a signal of what's going on underneath. So to understand what's going on, we're going to zoom out and look at it from a planetary scale. There's multiple armed conflicts. Many of them we see in the news and some we don't, even though their cost is high from a human life point of view. And certainly for all of them, there's a high ecological and environmental cost. Those armed conflicts number well over 100, the big ones you know about. But the point being here is that despite who we are as a species, we still haven't managed to get along with difference. And yet it is that diversity that allows us to thrive and that makes better decisions overall. So there's some pressures underway, not the least of which is our systems are out of date. They are based on predictability, based on when we thought we had control and could dominate over how things worked, and we're still attempting to do that to a fair extent. That's the one thing. So the idea being that we have one fix. So best example I have is wolves, or a keystone species like wolves, without which the ecosystems do not stay healthy. We have a tendency to think, well, let's kill them off so we can have access to the deer. That's not how it works, of course. But when we put wolves back in, as they did in Yellowstone, then the ecosystem is rebalanced. So we tend to think that in one straight line, called straight line thinking, we tend to think if we get rid of that problem, then we can have whatever we want. And that's, of course, not how it works. The whole web collapses, the system of life, because it's not based on straight line thinking. It's based on interrelationships and interconnections. A second pressure we have is tech is moving faster than we are adapting. AI is changing things. The pace is exhausting, and at the same time, we are not keeping up. And so it raises a flag for what does the future hold? Who am I in the future? So there's an existential question as well embedded in that. And that is putting a lot of pressure on us to think about who are we really and why are we here? What role do we want to play? And all of those harder questions. The other pressure is that we're losing the living world. This is my home ground. I was raised by a bird guy, an ornithologist, bush trained birdman, and spent a lot of time in the bush. And so it was just kind of natural. But when I come into the city and elsewhere actually now, the wild are treated as nuisances, as pests. Birds are pests, animals are pests. We exterminate them to get rid of them, and it's a domination over nature that we rely on for well-being, but at the same time we don't want it. So it's a very confusing relationship, I think it's safe to say. And then when we lose our natural species, when we lose the living world, we also lose our resilience, we lose meaning, we lose the diversity of survival intelligence that decision makers need but don't have. So lots of species we could be learning from, and instead of that we try to exploit them, get rid of them, whatever it takes to avoid diving deep and learning more. So there's a choice underneath, and this is where it goes in terms of decision making. There's a choice underneath that, and that is the consciousness that runs those decisions is called what's in it for me. It's a very narrow frame. It's singular. It can't see connections. There's no capacity to see what's coming, so no foresight. There's no consequences are not considered, and so not even direct consequences. And so that has a high cost overall. When you widen the frame, diverse intelligence is moving into what's in it for we, and what's in it for not just we as humans, but preferably all species on the planet, so we can actually care about what goes, who else is involved in the survival of life itself. So restoring that emotional health has a increases decision-making quality, it increases the depth, it increases our capacity to know and to be a part of a much wider system. So those of us who feel too much, who've been labeled as hypersensitive and filed as weak, you are actually in a better place to handle what's going on than the conforming thinking would suggest, because sensitivity is a superpower. It allows you to see what's coming. It allows you to see the connections, and and what that means is you're in the right place and the right time for today. So if I put in a couple of questions, one of them is, what if we used what if we used emotional health as which is inherent in you, as a doorway to moving to shifting to well-being from the inside and not dependent upon the outside? And what if it was also the doorway to regenerative and restorative way of living and working? In 2020, we had a lovely interruption to life that broke all life's routine. Values shifted. People remembered their families. They remembered to be together. They remembered a whole lot. And then the pull to go back into control, to go back into certainty, pulled everyone back into into the old, to regain familiarity, regain that control, regain that certainty. And I suspect we missed that moment, but it's still here. We can still make those shifts. Underneath the anxiety then is an understanding or a sensing that human activity is responsible for shaping the health of the world we live in. It's lockdown was a great illustration of that. We had animals coming out, reclaiming the land that we occupy a whole lot of. We could see our footprint more clearly. And so that was an opportunity to look at it from a different point of view and say, okay, what if our emotional health is collectively part of how the larger life system then finds balance? So this is more of our emotional health as being a reflection of as a feedback system to a wider health point of view, or wider health perspective. So I'm going to invite you to look at it as an invitation and an opening. The word adapting has gotten a bit beaten up. It's not about toxic positivity. It's not about doing things without meaning, without purpose. It's not pushing, pasting a smile and psyching yourself up so you look like you're doing. It's not about enduring anything. But what it is about learning. It's about accepting imperfection. It's about accepting things as they are, moving through those difficulties, moving through those difficult emotions to get to the other side and move past the edge of your zone. Not a hyper stretch, because that's where people snap and break, but enough that you can move into a better set of skills. So InReach is a set of inner skills that allow you to move through these difficult spaces and move to the other side. My name is Donna Jones. I've been through those difficult spaces. I'll tell you that in another video. But my mission here is to restore connection, compassion for all living creatures. And I invite you to join me in that and to step into these breaches of routine to really grow and really connect with yourself first and foremost, and what has meaning for you and what has purpose for you. I keep thinking of a quote Gandhi made, which runs something like, the difference between what we are doing and what we are capable of doing would and could solve the world's problems. And I think that's very, very true. So thank you for listening, and if you would please, if you find this of value, do the like and subscribe button, because then I can get better help with production, which I'm not that great. It's not my skill set. The insights that I'm hoping to offer to you on this channel are about that. They're also about the self-awareness, they're about the situational awareness, and they're about the wider contextual awareness that allow us to understand and be clear about what are the things that are affecting how I decide, the choices I make. A lot of those are very subliminal. We don't recognize them. And the more awareness you have, the more you can step back and go, just get off the drill, forging ahead approach to looking at things from a much wider point of view. And then you can be able to sort of see things more clearly and work with things more directly, and bring peace at the heart level, so you can gain from that. So better decisions, emotional health equals better decisions overall, because obviously it affects your mental health. These are very entangled. Thank you for joining me on this particular episode, and there'll be more.